Hey legends, James Russell from Tradie VA. Every week in the Time Rich Tradie, we find out what it takes to build a trade empire, get you off those tools, and hopefully not spend 80 hours a week doing it. If you like what you hear, subscribe to get some more juice. Now, today we're chatting with a bloke who's proved it's definitely never too late to build a better business and a better life. Paul Kennedy started out, actually, funnily enough, we were just talking about it, same year I was born. Yes, don't say it, doesn't look like it. I've got the grey hairs. I'm pretty sure he doesn't under all that. But he's clocked up over 43 years in the trade and now runs Independent Building Solutions, which is a team that handles mostly high-end residential construction, plus a little commercial and government contracts on the side. But his biggest leap is recently letting go of doing everything himself and really taking that next level and learning how to lead from the top. So if you're feeling stuck in the weeds and maybe you're using terms like, bit old school and not going to change, then this one is for you. So Paul, take us back. Tell me a little bit about what life was like before the business started to really evolve and a bit of your journey, mate.
It's all I've ever done. I grew up around it because my father was a builder. So I've always been around the industry. And some people with some of the stuff we've done say, why did you start a business in the first place? And I have to think about that, think back to the fact that I actually didn't. I fell into it. It was the same as most young guys in high school. Didn't know what I wanted to do, didn't know where I wanted to go, just didn't want to be at school, was just sick of it. Enjoyed the outdoors, enjoyed working with my hands and that sort of thing. So left school, did an apprenticeship, worked, and then I just continued on the same journey on my own, which is where I am today, still doing the same stuff, but a bit more on the business rather than in the business these days, with the help of people like yourself along the way, James.
So at what point did you start to make that transition from being that flat out, just wasn't helping you grow? Was there a moment that you were like, yeah, I just can't keep doing it like this. I need to get some help and change?
There's a lot of moments over the years. I think we all go through the ups and downs. There's always things that get to you. And if I had $1 for every time I said, I've had enough, I'm going to quit, I'm going to give this away, I'm sick of it, wouldn't be doing it anymore. I'd be sitting on the beach somewhere, wouldn't I? But no, I've got a son that's come into the business and he's really keen. He loves it. He's really good. Everything, seems to be easy to him. He seems to play along and he's always happy and enjoying it. And that rubs off on the younger apprentices that he works with. So it's been really good there. And I just wanted to improve things and went through a bit of a stage a few years ago at a couple of clients that I had some trouble with, and I started looking at myself rather than blaming anyone else and thought, I need to improve things here, need to look at doing something. And I just started looking out at Googling things, reading things, looking in things that led me to take up business coaching with Mick and Julie. And that was 2.5 years or so ago. And that's just helped me turn it all around and get it where it needs to be and start getting more systems and procedures in place. And I think that's how I came across you guys. It was actually Hashi from Wonderbuild that recommended you when I first decided to get new software. I started researching all the different software packages and decided to go with Wonderbuild. They were new at the time. I think I was actually one of the first to actually do change over to Wonderbuild back then. And he recommended you. And yeah, all the guys in the Black Belt guys, the Future Builder guys, and everyone, I think nearly everyone's changed over to Wonderbuild since.
When we first met, you were very heavily paper-based, whiteboard. We're not talking about moving over from one software to another one. You've been running, like you said, just the same kind of that way for quite a long time. There's mindset shifts that you'd got through the coaching. Do you remember what that first time you started to kind of let go and go, okay, I can actually make those changes? Because I think that's the thing that a lot of listeners have out there is that, I don't know, that resistance, or it's just hard to delegate, hard to let go, change. How did that really start for you?
I think it's mindset. I did do a mindfulness course a few years before I took up business coaching, just to try and learn to relax a bit more and not get so caught up in it all and be able to switch off and get away from it all. Because I think that's the problem with most guys. Regardless of where you're at and what you're doing, I think you've got to have your mindset right. That's the thing I've learned with Mick, is just trying to focus on what you can control and don't worry about what you can't control, and just try and get your mind in the right place. Because once you do that, everything else seems to follow along quite well. If your head's in the wrong place, it's just one problem after another. And so that enabled me to let go a bit more, stop micromanaging, just totally leave the guys on site alone, and they worked better and flourished and grew. And it was more a case of, get out of here, go away, leave us alone. We don't want you here.
You started to let go to the guys on site earlier, right? That was your first step. Was it just that they were already ready for it and you just walked away, or was there more to it than that?
Now, I think they're probably always all ready for it because everyone wants to and everyone wants to step up. No one wants to be managed. Everyone wants to feel like they know what they're doing and they're in control, don't they? And when you leave them alone and give them that ability, they seem to my guys will just seem to go better and better as the years went on.
What was your biggest challenge when you first started walking, letting and trusting that team to step up? Did you have some moments where that was a real challenge for you and you had to overcome something?
Not really, not out on site. Things that you have things go wrong every now and again. You just got to sort them out and fix them up, but that's life. It was more the office side of things. I step back out of that and then get back to what you were saying. Everything was sort of paper based and in my head at the old school. It was all I knew. So I had the time then to start trying to improve in those areas. And obviously, as they were going better and better too, I had to make sure I keep the work up to them. So it was keeping the jobs progressing, keeping the preliminary processes all going, and then trying to get the accounting and the bookkeeping and all that sort of thing into some sort of order and get one to build obviously new software, learn how to use it. That's probably going to go on forever because I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface and now they're showing us the AI stuff and all these where they're heading. You can't keep up with technology, can you? But getting it linked with Xero, getting your bookwork linked with that, and then getting obviously Angela trained up on all that sort of stuff to help with it. Now we've got automated system that feeds all the invoices out of the accounts inbox automatically in there, so she doesn't even have to do that anymore. Occasionally one slips under the radar or doesn't work. There's always a little hiccup here and there, but we've been onto that.
There's some systems or habits that helped keep that running without you in the every detail that you started to put into place as you were letting go of the office stuff as well?
There were systems being put in place and things were starting to work without me realising what was happening. And as I started realising how this is good, this is working well, we need to explore this a bit more and improve this a bit more. And so I've just started to learn it and follow it and try and put more time into it. And we've been doing the same thing and we're getting on top of it sort of one section at a time. I try not to take on too much because you find that you're chasing the next shiny object or the next, and you get all overwhelmed with it. You've got to focus on one thing at a time, get that fairly reasonably well going before you move to the next bit. And that's what I'm doing with Wonderbuild. You start with your estimating your costing and we're moving into the site diaries and the timesheets all under control and all that. It's just one thing at a time because I think at the start we were trying to do too much and you get a bit overwhelmed and you get a bit over it all because you think, oh, we're never going to get there. So yeah, light at the end of the tunnel is always something you think about, but you've got to stop thinking about that and realize that it's an infinite game. The whole business is a constant work in progress. You're always improving things and you've just got to focus on what's in front of you, get that done, just plan your day, time block, all those other things that we've learned with the business coaching as well. I'm still far from perfect with it, but getting better all the time. And you know you're improving. When you know you're improving, you just keep going, keep chipping away at it.
I've definitely loved that kind of 1% mentality that you've always had, which is there's always something you're doing to be better tomorrow than you are today. You haven't been stagnant one day, that we've been there. I'm not saying you haven't had your frustrations, but there's always that, okay, what's next? And I think having you here and just giving some of these, especially some of these younger builders as well, who feel there's just so many things to do. Is there any kind of mindset myth that you had to unlearn to grow and change your business, do you think, that you can give those tips?
I think one of the main things that you think about is, because quite often think about the fact that, oh, this is all so much better. I wish I had learned this 20, 30 years ago. When you look back on it, when you're in your 30s, you think you know everything and you don't want to take the infinite path. You're taking that finite one because it's the material things that attract you. But you don't work it out till you get older. So I look at it now, I think I probably wouldn't have done all this 20, 30 years ago because I would have thought what I was doing was right back then. It's looking back on it and realizing that you can do the things that we're doing now, but it just takes a time. It's like everything. You've got to learn some things the hard way and you've got to learn yourself. And that's maybe the frustrating part sometimes I have with the young guys is, I just wish you get through to them to do this stuff.
What kept you going when it felt uncomfortable? The amount of new stuff, like especially when you have paper, the email, the Wonderbuild, there's a lot of new ideas, processes, information. What kept you going when that was scary, uncomfortable, overwhelming?
The guys around me in the community, the thing that sort of started probably 5 or 6 years ago was having my son coming into business. So I want to make it better and easier, improve things to make it easier for him. And the other guys, obviously, that can run things when I'm not around. If I go away on holidays, they can step into it all and make it simple. Like it started with that. But then when I took up the business coaching and got into a community with a group of other builders that are all different ages, all doing different types of projects all over the country and all really helpful and really supportive. And we just chat to each other and help each other out, give each other tips, share resources, all that sort of stuff's what helped to make it a lot easier when things got a bit tough. You could just reach out to one of those guys, jump on one of our calls that we have regularly every week, have a chat to someone, ask for some help or some examples and support. And they're all really very quick and open and happy to help. And that's the big thing, I think.
Look, there's a lot of young blokes in there, but I want to speak to the guys here because you've built this, you've made these things have changed quite dramatically after 4 decades in the game. So what would you say to other tradies, builders in their 40s, 50s, 60s who think it's too late to change?
When's the best time to plant a tree, as they say? The day you're born, and next best time is today, isn't it? So you just got to understand and realise that you're never too old. Dan Sullivan talks about this. He's going to live to be 125, I think, isn't he? So I'm aiming to try and beat him if I can. It's never too late to do anything. It's the same with your health or your finances or anything. You don't know how much longer you've got, so you've got to make the most of what you've got.
Let's look at that, right? Let's look at what's life now look like compared to 5 years ago.
I think it's just easier. It's more relaxed. We're doing the same amount of work. We seem to be generating the same sort of incomes, and yet we're not as stressed or as, you're not losing sleep over things. You're not letting things get to you. I don't have problems with any of that sort of stuff anymore. You know, you get upset with things, you get pissed off with things every now and again, but I've learned not to stay there, just to get away from it, move straight away, because if you can't, you have a look at it and say, oh, what can I do about this? I can't do anything. That's it. Just move on to the next thing and ignore it, let that go and step to sort itself out when it sorts itself out. So, and I think, again, we go back to mindset. It always comes back to mindset, doesn't it?
It sounds like there's definitely a lot of peace there, and I feel that when we speak. We call the whole podcast called the Time Rich Tradie. What does your version of success or the Time Rich Tradie look like for you?
I think for most people, success is just being happy and comfortable and enjoying life, isn't it? It's not about work. It's not about what you got or what you haven't got or what you're doing. So if you can get your business to run so that you're drawing an income and you're doing what you want to do and everyone's happy and enjoying what they're doing, there's always incentive there. There's always just security, and it's just being comfortable, because happiness is not a destination. It's a means of travel, isn't it? And I think that's another thing we need to work out as we get older. And if your business is dragging you down and you haven't got time and you're not enjoying it, you need to do something about it, or you need to get out of it and go do something that does work for you. As they say, if you don't love what you're doing, you need to find something you do and change. But I've managed to turn the business into something that I do love doing. I enjoy coming to work. It's more fun. It's relaxed. It's giving me what I need. I get plenty of time off. It runs fine when I'm not around. It's still not 100% self-managing, but it's come a long way.
It doesn't have to be self. It just needs to give you the lifestyle that you want. I know you travel, you go when you need to go and stay when you need to stay. I think it's that flow that you bring when you're on our calls. And I think for the listeners today, it's really not just hearing Paul's words, but hearing how they're said it's bringing some of that flow. It's obviously you're taking care of yourself, getting the community around you, not getting stuck. I never see you get stuck on something. Nothing ever takes you to the point where that's the end game. Thanks so much for sharing that journey that you've been through today, because I think a lot of people need to hear it, that it's never too late, because today is always today. I've seen that in how you run the business and what you've changed in only a couple of years after 4 decades of doing things generationally. This came from your dad too. And I'm absolutely proud of what you've achieved and what you've brought about here. And I think you underestimate what you bring back to the community that you're part of out there too. You found them and they can provide it to you. And I think you provide a lot back. So again, thank you so much for joining us and showing us that. And for everybody listening, if you're someone who's in those shoes, then share it, subscribe, stay tuned, obviously, for more ways to systemize it, optimize it, delegate it, and scale the bloody thing if you want to, or not if you don't. Because fuck it, it's your business. Enjoy it. So thanks again, Paul. Really enjoy it. And yeah, catch you next time, guys.